Hey guys, at Muscle Whisperer Josh. Thanks for coming over. If you're following me on Instagram, please subscribe. YouTubers, if you're not following me on Instagram, please shoot over at Muscle Whisperer Josh. And there's a lot of great content over the last 3 years. But I'll be doing a lot more tidbit stuff over there and shooting everybody onto YouTube just because it's a lot easier to do single videos uncut. I just get on a rant and I normally do pretty well like this. It's when I have to stop that it messes me up. So yoga and stretching and why we don't use it when we're in pain or when we're severely limited. Stretching is very superficial, so you have to look at it like this. If this was your leg, like this being the quad, the thigh, and this being the hamstring, if the tension was deep inside and that's what's causing you your pain and it's layered up that much, then to think that a stretch is going to do anything for it is really unlikely. It's not very likely that you're going to get something to activate deep in those dormant layers that are giving you pain. Because if they're giving you pain, it's long past when tension has started building itself. When tension forms, the way that it builds from the inside out, from in most cases, short of trauma or something that like getting hit in a spot or being in a car accident or anything traumatic like that, that's different. There's always some kind of path that you see from that, but typically it's not the normal ways that tension forms just in regular human beings. We sit, we stand, we travel, we do those things. So it's, we look at like I am right now. I'm staring at this technology, but the way I looked off like this, it'd be like me looking down at my phone or anything like most of us do throughout just every day. So, difference in foam rolling and stretching is compression happens when you stretch using a foam roller, and when you stretch using just like a typical stretch, static stretch that we know, then you're not compressing the layers. Some people like to say if you're doing something and actually sitting against it. I mean, there is ways that you could put your butt against the ground and you could use the ground and stuff, but getting into the hamstring or calves or anything like that, I mean, short of using a foam roller or another device to apply pressure, there's really no way to activate deep layers. Now, if you use the foam roller, that's what I always preach, is to you use stretching to show you where an area, kind of, I always say stretch to find out where it sucks, and when you find that area, then you foam roll that area, and then afterwards you stretch again to confirm that it's gotten better. And how do we know it's gotten better? Just a quick tip. If you stand up from foam rolling or stretching and it feels cool or light, those are the two things you want to look for. Cool means that as you open an area and say the area is bound up like this, blood flow getting through that is not going to be as easy as after you break it up with the foam roller and stretching, and then you open it up. Now blood can pass through the way that it should. So when blood is allowed to pass through an area that's been really bound up, it's almost like it has to warm back up. It goes through those areas, cools down, warms back up, takes a few minutes, and then it feels normal again. But that's one that you definitely want to look for. The other one that you want to look for is light, because light means less friction, less tension in the area, so you definitely change something. And you want a profound sense of those two feelings right there, because when you did those, then you know that you've actually achieved something. Now, when you stretch, when you're in pain, the nervous system is already guarded. So you're going to have this timid, you'll probably get a tremble and all that spasmy feeling, and that's just the body protecting itself. And what we can't forget is the nervous system is like our designated driver. Regardless if we want that person to be there, we want that person to be there because it's protecting us in a way. But stretching is just looked at like, oh, when I preach on Instagram, 2 minutes. So Josh said 2 minutes, let's just sit here and lean into it, and then that's going to take care of the job for us. And in reality, that's not really the case. There's a lot that has to do with pelvic alignment and different positioning, angles, leverage, and meridians of energy, because if you don't line things up in the body, it's like pinching a hose off and expecting water to come out. It's not going to happen. So if I'm trying to do a hamstring stretch, like most people do, what do? They just fall forward like this. That is the last thing you'd want to do. First of all, most people have their knee completely locked. And if you want to just stretch the entire structure, that's basically what you're trying to do. You've got your knee locked, you're just pulling around everything. You're not really leveraging anything. Our muscles have to be leveraged in order for them to fire. So what I mean by that is you need to take your knee, like on a hamstring stretch, and bend it slightly. And then you're going to feel that pull up into the cavity there, and then it's going to actually activate on both sides of the knee, and you'll feel your calf pull and you'll feel your hamstring pull. But A lot of people have an anterior pelvic tilt, which means your butt is shoved up into your lower back is curved, and then it means that your pelvis is shoved down in the front, and that probably you're going to have overdeveloped quads or a little bit more meat on the top of your thighs up here towards your hips than you do on the back side of your legs where your hamstrings are. And that can be fixed really, really fast. Just changing the position in my before and afters, messing with the pelvis, you instantaneously see a difference. It's not like I magically created muscle. It's not like I gave them a huge pump as much as I just redistribute the tissue based on joint alignment. So if the pelvis is like this, which is most people on earth, and that's called an anterior tilt, this would be the back and this would be the hips. Pelvis is normally here, and then you can just look at people. Take a person as they got a side profile shot and just look at them, and you can see where the shelf is. It just looks like the shelf. In most cases, it's going to look like a girl's pants kind of dip down in the front. Normally the girls all wear the straps around the tops a lot of times, so it makes it really good, thing to gauge with them. You can see, boom, it looks like it's going like this. And they probably have more kind of meat to the top of their thighs on the quads right here, and then they have a flatter area on the hamstring down there. This is why fake butts have become so huge. And I'm not saying every girl that you're going to see this on, please don't relate that to. I'm just saying that's why fake butts have become so huge, because in the fat transfers and all that stuff, it's simply because they have to fake it to make it, because their pelvis is shifted and they try. I mean, I see the girls, even the girls with the fake butts, they lift harder for their glutes than most of them. And in reality, I don't know, if you got their pelvis back into place, they probably go like, holy crap, that's too big. But anyways, not to get off topic. When you go into using stretching, I just want to get back to doing a couple basic foundationals here. When you want to go into stretching, you want to make sure that you use it like this until you get your body to a good maintenance level. And then you need to make sure that your maintenance is not repetitive, because everybody who's sitting here is probably going, yes, because I've done it too, guys. I've always been the one to change up my ways and then just try and teach what I've learned. So I've always done the same thing, repeating the same process. When you get your body to where you've stretched it, foam rolled that area, stretched it again, try this repeated process, 3 to 5 minutes on each spot that you're foam rolling. Really dig it out. Find everything around that whole area and open it up. And you take the foam roller, and if you go over to my YouTube, I have plenty more things on here to show you how to foam roll and teach you how not to roll back and forth and how to actually compress. But when you get in there, you want to get in and you want to be moving it around just like this. Not fast, but just an inch or two, and just take that knot you feel and push all the layers of tissue out. But don't lift as you move. Just dig in and push it out like you're stretching it this way and this way and this way and pulling it apart like that. And that's in essence what you do with it, and then stretch it again to confirm that it's opened up. Trust me, guys, you do this stuff, just 5 minutes one spot, mirror that spot on the other side. Make sure when you foam roll, you always do in stretch. Do one side, do the exact spot on the other side, and then switch to whatever spot you want to move to. Or otherwise you'll end up doing more on one side than you do on another. So stretch afterwards to confirm it, and then, the only reason I'm saying that is because you have 5 minutes on one side, 5 minutes on the other side, 2 minute stretch, 2 minute stretch, and that should take about 14 minutes, like I preach on my Instagram. If you only had 14 minutes at the end of every workout, and you did 5, 5, 2, 2, and just left after that, and did that every single day, because most people are 5 to 7 days a week in the gym, even 3 days a week though, you would have basically, even at 3 days, that'd be 6 spots, hardcore spots that you broke up checking. And trust me, guys, as you do the stretch in the beginning, the reason I tell you to do that is because you're going to go and one day do this, and it's going to be like, oh, my butt, right up my hamstring. Next day you're going to go and it's going to be like, holy crap, my calf won't even let my knee straighten. And then, so it'll switch around. And as you do these things, you'll break those up. I guarantee you, even at 3 days a week, you would never run into any real severe issues, unless you were just crazy in how you worked out, because it's all relative. If you're doing 5 days and you're going to be getting into 10 spots all over your body, think about that. That'd be 2 here, 2 in the armpit area, 2 down in my hips, 2 in the hamstrings and 2 in the calves. That would leave most people feeling pretty phenomenal, and it would really prevent any part of that chain getting too tight throughout to where it would cause a severe issue. But once you've gotten through doing this for a few months and you get into it took me about 6 to 8 months to get my body really sound to where nothing really kinked up, but I had to stay on top of it. And trust me, guys, I got down to where I was doing like 2 days a week of this, 3 days a week, and maintaining it pretty, really good. I would just do like 1 or 2 hour, one 1 hour session, like all by itself on an off day, and then I would do maybe 3 days a week of doing the spots like I'm talking about, and it managed everything perfectly fine. Once you get to that maintenance level, then stretching becomes the avenue that you want to take all the time, because you can go in and you're activating all the layers, you're keeping them active, and therefore you don't have to worry about compressing so much. But you'll build up kinks, and that's where you start to do that stretch, and oh, I feel that. So just take a second, boom, pop the foam roller on it and knock it out while it's fresh when you've kept your body maintained. And trust me, then the foam rolling a spot for 30 seconds to a minute can be effective. Right now, I can hit spots in my body and maybe do 30 seconds to a minute, where I would tell most people to do 3 to 5 minutes. But you have to get yourself progressed into the level where you just feel it. And trust me, I don't have to tell anybody to go down to 1 minute, because the fact is, you do these things I'm telling you about, your body awareness goes so high that you're just in tune with everything. So you get on the spot and you'll go into it and be like, oh, I know I got it, and it was only 35 seconds. Wow. Sometimes it'll still take a minute on major spots, like shoulder blades always take 1 to 3 minutes because of how hard the area is around that big chunk of bone there. So this is the fastest way to do it, guys. You take your stretch, you indicate where you need to roll. Okay, I feel it. Boom, my hamstring. I need to roll that area out. You go hit that hamstring, then you stretch it for 2 minutes. Stand up and make sure that it's cool and light, and then do it on the other side. Anybody who loves stretching will love this even more. You'd be the biggest yoga advocate, because you should use your yoga class, if you're going to go in and do it, as the perfect indicator. Go in there and remember, as best you can, the things that were the worst when you were trying to stretch in there, and then go hit those with the foam roller, or go home and try and remember the poses that weren't that good and just try them real quick, and then go, oh, okay, I'm going to try foam roll this spot, and then try it again. It's a really cool process when you do it this way, because you're just playing like unwind the dots. Instead of connect the dots are already connected. Now we just need to go figure out this one, unwind it, and next thing you know, you're standing up moving in 2 hours, an hour, 30 minutes, whatever. You're like moving so light and so free. It's just a euphoric feeling because of the energy you've taken and given back to your nervous system. But that same nervous system is the reason why that I say you can't stretch when you're in pain or limited. And these people who go and shoot in, clients of mine will come and, back's really killing me and stuff. Now, and then we dissect it. Next thing you know, I find out they're doing yoga 3 days a week while they're still in pretty severe kind of pain or limitations, and they're trying to take on a bunch because they're coming to see me or whatever. A lot of people do that in the beginning. They just take on a bunch of modalities all at once because they just say, I'm done with this and I want to fix it. But foam rolling is the ticket to add in. Use the stretching as a buffer with your foam rolling, and then you'll see a lot better results with it. You'll see the pain go away, and you'll be able to actually get these things to change instantaneously. It won't be any kind of process that you have to wait for. So hope you guys like this video. Check me out on Instagram. I'll be doing more things like this. My Instagrammers, definitely make sure you subscribe to YouTube. I'm going to try and do more of these videos so you guys get a better understanding of things. Excuse me. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.